Concussions in high school athletes are a growing concern for healthcare professionals, parents, and coaches, especially in high school athletes. High school is a critical period for brain development. The article Epidemiology of Sports-Related Concussions in High School Athletes states, sports participation is one of the leading causes of concussions among nearly 8 million U.S. high school student athletes. Concussions negatively affect the brain. Symptoms can be dizziness, headaches, nausea, difficulty concentrating, sleep loss, personality changes, irritability, memory loss, and depression. Next is Jared Romero, Fremont High School's athletic trainer, explaining how schools handle concussions. So how do you think the high school's athletic trainers help manage concussions?
So high school athletic trainers will manage concussion through first getting a baseline screening. Typically this is done in the preseason or the off season, just kind of get a baseline of where every athlete's at. Let's say a student athlete gets hurt during a game or practice. Typically what one would do would be to kind of do what's called a screening, a concussion screening, which is called a SCAT-5. For us, it's called a different name, but it's essentially the same thing. It's called C3 Logics, and it's dealing with assessing for symptoms. We assess for balance, assess for like memory, recall questions, and kind of get an overall feel of how that athlete's doing. So what one should be doing and how they should be managing is kind of going through those SCAT-3 questions and those assessments and tests to assess, and then determining if there is a concussion, if there's not a concussion. And then there is a return to play protocol that one would need to go through. And that can get a little bit extensive, but for the most part, it's kind of assess them. Do they have something? Do we need to refer out to a hospital or a PT clinic? And then if they do have a concussion, there is a little bit of a return to play process they have to go through.
Katie Weaver received a concussion her senior year in high school and is going to explain the effects that it has had on her. So how did you originally get your first concussion?
It was a full week of experiences. I was playing pickleball the first night and my date came down. We did like the little celebration punch where you lock elbows and his elbow came down and hit my prefrontal cortex, so all of them were here. And then 3 other times at practice at volleyball, a blocker came down, hit it again, a ball hit it again, same time, dove and hit heads with my setter. And I guess there were only 4 times, but then that's what started it all.
Athletic trainers help manage and identify concussions in many athletes. Schools with athletic trainers often report more sports-related concussions, but they have less recurring concussions. Athletes with athletic trainers do not return to their sports prematurely, and they actually heal from their first concussion. A study conducted in the article, The Influence of Athletic Trainers on the Incidence and Management of Concussions in High School Athletes, claims the level of athletic trainer availability positively influenced the reported incidences of sports-related concussions, as well as post-concussion management activities in this sample of high schools. Having an athletic trainer in high schools will be extremely beneficial.
What are the benefits of high schools having athletic trainers?
I think the benefits are there's a lot of variability with concussions. A lot of athletes don't know when they have one, and a lot of parents don't know that they have one. It's an injury which is really hard to see. It's not like a broken bone or anything. So I think having an athletic trainer is beneficial because they can go through these tests and they can assess an athlete probably more so than the athlete and the parents just guessing if they have something. So having an athletic trainer there can kind of put them through the protocol and make sure that they're safe to return back to play, so they're not having a second or a third concussion or any other incidents that could harm them.
What help did you get from your high school trainer from your first one?
So much help. I wanted to play so bad in state, and I came up to my trainer. I had 2, and I just was bawling my eyes out, I just want to do this, and she had never seen me like that, and so she immediately like we had to take the test. I completely failed it, and she was like, you need to go home, set me up with a good doctor. She was very helpful throughout the whole process.
Every athlete should be required to take a course educating on concussions. The courses must be uniform and educate on the symptoms and consequences of unreported concussions. This education will hopefully encourage athletes to self-report if they feel they have gotten a concussion. In the article, Mandated High School Concussion Education and Collegiate Athletes' Understanding of Concussions, it explains, we must develop and disseminate evidence-based educational programs that are clinically proven to be effective in improving athletes' knowledge and behaviors. This article also conducts a study researching the benefits of high school athletes being educated on the topics of concussions. The conclusion was that education will positively affect athletes seeking help when they think they have received a concussion, and athletes will be able to recognize the symptoms of a concussion.
So then if all athletes had to take a course educating them on concussions, do you think athletes would self-report, and would this be beneficial?
I think it'd be awesome if there was a class or a course that student athletes had to take. I think everyone should be aware of concussion. I still think you would see some athletes that will try to hide it just due to the fact of, the pressure of sports, the pressure of winning, losing. I think sometimes you'll see some athletes have the pressure from coaches, peers, teammates, even parents to get back out there again, because concussion's not something that you can see. A lot of it is symptom based. So I think that would be awesome and super useful for kids to have a course, but I still think you would have those few that will try and hide symptoms and not tell an athletic trainer or say anything with the fear of not being able to play or the pressure with sport.
How has your concussion just affected your everyday life?
It's been tough. I got my first job after it, in like a real job 2 years ago, and it was really hard at first. It was a work at home tech job, so I was on computers a lot, headaches every day. I still have headaches every day, and man, what does it not affect? I don't know. It's noise and lights. If I'm in a really loud environment for a long time, I get really drained. Social events are harder for me too. Like, it's harder for me to be on 24/7.
Solutions are athletic trainers in every high school and education courses on concussions for student athletes.